Tonight, breaking news. States of emergency as hundreds flee ahead of out-of-control wildfires on the East Coast. The massive new job cuts by RFK Jr. at America's health agencies. And King Charles sent to the hospital, what the palace is saying tonight. First, new evacuations as dry conditions help fuel raging fires. One blaze in the Carolinas, now the highest priority fire in the U.S. as firefighters from as far away as Oregon rush in to help, using bulldozers and chainsaws to make containment lines. Some residents watching helplessly as their homes are threatened. Faith Abubey from the fire zone. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. promising to slash 10,000 more jobs from the nation's health agencies, on top of the 10,000 already lost through buyouts and previous cuts. How this could impact the country's health system. Rachel Scott reporting. The White House acknowledging a mistake was made in the leaked Signal group chat with top national security officials. The fallout growing amid bipartisan calls for an investigation. The death toll rising in a horrific tourist submarine accident. Children among those killed. The desperate rescue operation. The news just coming in. King Charles sent to the hospital. What we're learning tonight. Vice President Vance facing a chilly reception in Greenland after President Trump vowed to go as far as we have to go to take over the world's largest island. Masked federal agents in plain clothes detain a Tufts University PhD student outside her home. The student's visa now terminated, and the administration's threat about more arrests. The first court appearance for a doctor accused of trying to kill his wife in Hawaii by pushing her off a cliff, and what authorities say he attempted next. An arrest in a Molotov cocktail attack on a Tesla dealership. What we're learning about the suspect. And America strong tonight across the country. It's time to play ball.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. Several developing stories as we come on the air, including thousands of jobs slashed from America's health agencies and news on King Charles sent to the hospital. But we begin tonight with the wildfire threat raging across parts of the East Coast. In South Carolina, new evacuations have been ordered. At least 1,400 homes and businesses impacted. Hundreds of firefighters from across the country called in to assist. Crews attacking the flames from the air, a DC-10 spreading fire retardant. On the ground, heavy equipment and rough terrain used to build containment lines to protect homes and businesses. The fires in the Carolinas still burning out of control, scorching nearly 10 square miles. The entire region so dry, and with many downed trees from last year's Hurricane Helene providing fuel for the flames. ABC's Faith Abubey leads us off in Saluda, North Carolina.
Tonight, DC-10s dropping retardant from the air. Firefighters from all over the U.S. battling the Black Cove complex fire, now considered the highest priority wildfire in the entire country.
A lot of this fire has been terrain driven, and it's really steep, it's really rugged terrain, inaccessible terrain in many places. At
least 11 homes have burned, the entire region essentially a tinderbox.
Things that we typically do haven't been working because of all that blowdown from Helene. And we're losing containment lines that normally we're able to hold.
Any gust of wind can fuel the spread of a new fire.
We didn't know if we were going to come home to losing everything we had.
Late Wednesday in Buckingham County, Donna Bryant rushing home from work to grab what she could after a new fire broke out just feet from her house.
On my way home, I'm like, is the clothes on my back going to be all that I have at the end of the day?
In South Carolina, evacuations continuing for the Table Rock complex fire, affecting more than 1,400 homes and businesses. Firefighters using bulldozers and chainsaws in rough terrain to make containment lines. The battle there far from over. And where you can see the fire already burned through this area, scenes like this all over. The winds expected to pick up again tomorrow, and many homeowners already told they could be next on the evacuation list. Whit.
The threat still a major concern. Faith Abubey, thank you. Now to those massive cuts at the Department of Health and Human Services. 10,000 people at the nation's health agencies being laid off, and that's on top of the nearly 10,000 staff already cut through buyouts and previous layoffs. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. is saying it will be a painful period, but promising his department will do more with less. ABC's senior political correspondent Rachel Scott at the White House.
Tonight, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., announcing a massive overhaul of the agency that oversees America's health, supervises Medicare and Medicaid, and monitors food and drug safety. It includes cutting 20,000 people from the department, a quarter of its workforce.
This will be a painful period for HHS as we downsize from 82,000 full-time employees to around 62,000. I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less.
But experts, including Dr. Richard Besser, former acting director of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, insist you can't cut that many jobs without people in America, quote, suffering.
I worry that in this drive to cut positions and save money, critical programs that impact on people's lives are going to be cut as well.
Kennedy also plans to consolidate agencies within HHS.
We're going to eliminate an entire alphabet soup of departments and agencies while preserving their core functions by merging them into a new organization called the Administration for a Healthy America, or AHA.
The FDA will lose 3,500 employees, and the CDC will lose 2,400. That agency also narrowing its scope to focus on preparing for and responding to epidemics and outbreaks. For decades, the agency has handled so much more, monitoring nationwide health trends, including chronic diseases, firearm injuries, and overdose deaths.
CDC has incredible expertise in heart disease, in cancer, in smoking prevention. If CDC loses the ability to work on those, someone else is going to have to pick that up, and no one's going to do it as well as CDC.
And it's still unclear how those sweeping changes will impact the CDC. But tonight there is other breaking news from the White House. The president announcing that he is pulling the nomination of Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York to become the next ambassador of the UN. The president saying that with a very tight majority in the House, he doesn't want to take any chances of Republicans losing that House seat. So now Stefanik will remain in Congress. Whit.
All right, Rachel Scott with those new developments. Thank you. Tonight, a Tufts University grad student is in ICE detention. Federal agents swarming in to arrest the woman outside her Massachusetts home wearing masks and plain clothes. And late today, what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said when asked about her arrest. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
This is the moment federal agents in masks and hoodies detain Tufts University doctoral student Rumeysa Ozturk.
Where the police?
The Turkish national handcuffed and led away, one of at least a half dozen international students targeted in recent weeks after voicing support for Palestinians.
If ICE comes to your door, keep the door closed.
Overnight, more than 1,000 demonstrators protesting her arrest at Tufts. Ozturk's attorney said it appears the only thing she's being targeted for is her right to free speech. But the Department of Homeland Security accused her of engaging in activities in support of Hamas.
Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
Ozturk, a Fulbright scholar, co-wrote this op-ed criticizing Tufts for failing to recognize Palestinian genocide. Hamas is not mentioned.
She makes sure that she doesn't offend anyone, let alone, possibly incite violence. She is not that person. She's not aggressive.
And tonight, the University of Alabama says one of its doctoral students, Iranian national Alireza Daroudi, has been detained. Detaining these students is part of the Trump administration's hardline immigration policy. That crackdown is also sending suspected gang members to a prison in El Salvador, visited by the Homeland Security Secretary.
If you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
No charges have been filed against any of the detained students. With their right to free speech is protected, the administration says their right to be in the country is not. And it will likely be up to the courts to decide.
Aaron Katersky for us tonight. Thank you. We head overseas now in that deadly tourist submarine tragedy in Egypt. At least 6 people killed, including children. New information tonight and the urgent investigation into how this happened. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
At least 6 people are dead tonight, including 2 children, after a tourist submarine sank off the coast of Egypt. 50 people were on board when the underwater sightseeing boat crashed into a coral reef, according to an early investigation. The urgent rescue operation unfolding in the Red Sea near the popular resort of Hurghada. Dozens pulled from the water.
Everything is okay.
Local officials visiting survivors in the hospital. At least 23 people injured. Authorities say all those killed were Russian nationals. The submarine seen in this promotional video, it can dive up to 80 feet underwater. It's not clear if the vessel that sank today was fully submerged at the time. Videos taken on previous trips show how tourists would climb down the hatch and the tight quarters once inside.
And as the investigation is ongoing now, all the crew members are being interviewed with.
Trevor Ault, thank you. 2 Americans injured in a stabbing rampage in Amsterdam, a 67-year-old woman and 69-year-old man, according to police. The 2 among 5 total victims attacked around the city center. No word on how serious the injuries are. A suspect was arrested. A motive has not been released. There is news just coming in tonight. King Charles was sent to the hospital today. The palace saying this followed his ongoing treatment for cancer. Chief international correspondent James Longman joins us now from London. And James, what more are you learning?
Yeah, the palace announced late tonight that King Charles was taken to the hospital briefly today after he experienced side effects from his ongoing cancer treatment. Now, they called these side effects temporary, but they were serious enough that the king required a short period of observation in the hospital. He is now back home, but as a precautionary measure, all his engagements tomorrow have been cancelled. The king's cancer diagnosis was made public in February last year, but he has been back to full official duties for some time. The palace says they do not anticipate major changes to the schedule. A state visit by Italy should go ahead in just over a week's time. Whit.
Many thinking about the king's health tonight. James, thank you. A high-level American delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance is heading to Greenland. President Trump insisting the U.S. will, quote, go as far as we have to go to gain control of the island. ABC's senior national correspondent Terry Moran is there. And Terry, this has really become a high-stakes visit.
Yeah, this is a dramatic moment in the struggle for Greenland. Vice President Vance is going to be visiting a U.S. Space Force base in the far north of Greenland, but his message is much bigger. The administration is arguing that Greenland, which is part of Denmark, has been neglected by the Danes and by previous U.S. administrations, and Greenlanders would be better off under U.S. ownership. This is a wild land. It's rich in rare earth materials, and it sits along strategic sea lanes that are opening up from climate change, and Russia and China see that too. But right now, most Greenlanders reject Trump's goals. The foreign minister saying that if the vice president visits a town here, he'll be greeted by chants of Yankee go home. Whit.
All right, Terry Moran, thanks so much. Next tonight, the White House is acknowledging that a mistake was made when top administration officials used a Signal app group chat to discuss details ahead of military strikes in Yemen. That chat mistakenly including a reporter from the Atlantic magazine. The Attorney General today downplaying the severity of the incident, implying the Justice Department will not be investigating. But there are bipartisan calls in Congress for accountability. Here's ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, the top Republican and Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee calling for an investigation into the group chat on the Signal app where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth revealed detailed information about the military strike on Yemen. A reporter mistakenly added to the chat. The senators say the episode raises questions as to the use of unclassified networks to discuss sensitive and classified information. President Trump says he doesn't know whether or not classified information was shared.
I don't know. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know.
Secretary Hegseth insists it wasn't.
Nobody's texting war plans.
What's not in dispute is that hours before U.S. air and missile strikes were launched, Hegseth told the group, including that reporter, detailed information, including which aircraft would be involved, what time they would be launched, and exactly when the bombs would drop. For days, the White House downplayed the security breach, but today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt acknowledging a mistake was made, pointing the finger at National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who created the group chat and added the reporter inadvertently.
Well, we have never denied that this was a mistake, and the National Security Advisor took responsibility for that, and we have said we are making changes.
The Attorney General did make it clear today that the Justice Department will not be investigating, but military officers we have spoken to remain dumbfounded that Hegseth shared details of the attack hours before it happened, and pilots telling us it could have put crews flying those missions at far greater risk. Whit.
Martha Raddatz on this story again tonight. Thank you. An urgent recovery mission is underway. 4 soldiers from Fort Stewart, Georgia, missing from a training exercise in Lithuania. Their 70-ton vehicle, located submerged in a pond, thick forests and challenging terrain are hampering efforts. Hundreds of U.S. and Lithuanian soldiers have been helping in those efforts. When we come back here tonight, an arrest after a fiery attack at a Tesla dealership, what police say they found in the suspect's home, and the charges he's now facing. Plus, the top doctor accused of trying to push his wife over a cliff in Hawaii. What happened in the courtroom today for the first time? Matt Gutman reports, coming up. Next tonight, the chilling story from Hawaii. A prominent doctor now charged with the attempted murder of his wife. Authorities say he tried to push her down a hill while they were on a hike, then hitting her in the head with a rock. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, a Maui doctor who authorities say tried to push his wife off a cliff and beat her with a rock, charged with attempted murder, appearing in court. The couple hiking the scenic Palipuka Trail near Honolulu Monday morning when police say Gerhard Koenig, an anesthesiologist, became enraged, trying to push his wife off the trail and striking her multiple times in the head. She was taken to a hospital in critical condition with injuries to her face and head. Police say Koenig then fled into the park, police issuing this lookout for the 46-year-old. And after a 6-hour manhunt and a brief foot chase, Koenig finally taken into custody. The doctor had worked as an independent contractor at Maui Health until this week. Maui Health saying in a statement, Dr. Koenig's medical staff privileges at Maui Memorial Medical Center have been suspended pending investigation.
Wade, Koenig is being held on a $5 million bail. His next court appearance is set for Monday, at which he's expected to make a plea. Whit.
An alarming case. Matt Gutman, thank you. When we come back, police making an arrest after a fiery Tesla attack. And tonight we're learning of a new tribute tonight to comedy legend Betty White. To the Index now, an arrest in that fiery attack on a Las Vegas Tesla dealership. 36-year-old Paul Kim facing charges including arson and discharging a firearm into a vehicle. Video from earlier this month showing flames and explosions. Police raiding Kim's home, saying they found firearms and a gun belt. They do not believe anyone else was involved, but they are trying to determine whether Kim is part of an organized group targeting Tesla. And a new tribute tonight to honor comedy legend Betty White. The U.S. Postal Service issuing the postal stamp featuring White today. If you look closely at her earring, it's a paw print honoring her advocacy for animals. You can buy the Forever stamp at the post office or online. And tonight, Asheville Rising, GMA returning 6 months after Hurricane Helene hit, seeing strength and resilience in North Carolina. Generous donations of supplies, people giving their time to help storm victims rebuild, and so much help from you at home. Donations pouring in from viewers totaling more than $2.7 million, and there is still a chance to help even more. You can just go to our website. When we come back here, the day millions of baseball fans have been waiting for. Finally tonight, millions of happy fans celebrating opening day. Major League Baseball is back. Tonight, across the country, so many cheering for Major League Baseball's opening day. From New York to St. Louis to Chicago, nearly every team taking the field. In Houston, Texas, this young fan, 10-year-old Everett Jameson, waiting for an autograph before his Astros take on the New York Mets. In San Diego, California, outside the stadium, father and son Sean and Jake Taylor sitting together in matching Padres jerseys. And inside, sisters Cruz and Cameron Munguia, also wearing those Padres jerseys, their team playing against the Atlanta Braves. And even before the games, the celebrations. The Astros' Cam Smith will make his Major League debut tonight. The team surprising him with the news by bringing his family into the locker room to tell him.
We made the roster.
And this is the moment 29-year-old J.C. Escara, a former substitute teacher and Uber driver, called his mom to tell her he's going to play for the New York Yankees.
I made the team. We did it.
Telling his mom, we did it. And as the Dodgers prepare to take the field, watch out before the game to honor the firefighters and first responders who helped battle the LA wildfires. They will introduce a frontline hero of the game throughout the season. Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani and his teammates visited a Pacific Palisades fire station earlier this year. And here we go, the season just getting started. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Wade Johnson. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.